The World Matchplay is back at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool in just over a week's time, taking place from the 13th to the 21st of July. And of course, the field is now set for the second biggest tournament in the world of darts. And before I bring you the draw, which has been made around lunchtime today, I'll bring you some of the players and qualifiers that are involved in the event. The number one seed is the reigning world champion Luke Humphries, whilst Michael van Gerwen takes up the second seeded spot. You've also got the likes of Michael Smith, Gerwen Price and Peter Wright in the 16 seeded positions. They're joined by 16 players from the top of the PDC Pro Tour order of merit, excluding those in the top 16 in the world, which are seeded. The top of those rankings is Gary Anderson, a former World Matchplay champion in his own right, with Josh Rock and Ryan Searle in the top three. You've also got Luke Littler, of course, the PDC World Championship runner-up and has won many titles on his first year on tour. He was 6th in the PDC Pro Tour Order of Merit. You've also got the likes of Raymond van Barneveld, Luke Woodhouse, who's going to be making his World Championship debut, and sneaking in on the final Pro Tour, the final day to get into those spots, was James Wade, another former World Matchplay winner. So the 16 Order of Merit players, they will take on one of the qualifiers from the PDC Pro Tour in a 32-player tournament over a week of action. So here is the draw. Right then, we have the draw for the 2024 Betfred World Matchplay, and there are some absolutely cracking ties to run you through that we're going to be seeing in just over a week's time. But we'll start with the world number one and world champion, Luke Humphries. He's going to be taking on Riccardo Pietrezco in a repeat of a fantastic match we saw on the Ali Pali stage. Humphries coming back from a severe deficit to beat Pietrezco and keep his world championship hopes alive. Can he beat him in the world matchplay? Stephen Bunting takes on Ryan Joyce, making his second appearance. Johnny Clayton, a winner at the week, just yesterday, in fact, on the Pro Tour and a European Tour winner this year. He takes on the 5-time world champion Raymond van Barneveld. Another former World Matchplay champion in Dimitri Vandenberg takes on the German number one Martin Schindler, who's been in the best form of his life in 2024. Gerwen Price, maybe someone who's not been in the best form of his life. He takes on Daryl Gurney, a 2-time major champion. Gurney got a real chance there against Price, who's not in the best of form. High scoring affair expected from Ross Smith versus Josh Rock. Both playing some excellent darts at the moment, hitting an absolute load of 180, so you can expect that to be a long affair. Nathan Aspinall, the current World Matchplay champion, should I say, but has been suffering with a few injury problems of late. He takes on a debutant in Luke Woodhouse, and the final match from the top half of the draw is Danny Noppert. He will take on James Wade, the last man to secure his spot in this year's tournament. Moving on to the second half of the draw, and this is where it gets particularly tasty. At the top of that half is Michael van Gerwen, the number 2 seed in the tournament, and he will face Luke Littler, a runner-up, of course, in the PDC World Championship. He's won on the World Series, the Pro Tour and the European Tour this year, and you'd imagine he will go into that match a slight favourite. So we're going to be losing either one of Luke Littler or Michael van Gerwen in this year's tournament in the first round. Elsewhere in that half, you've got Joe Cullen, last year's semi-finalist. He's up against Brendan Dolan. Dave Chisnell against Krzysztof Ratajski. Peter Wright, who's down to number 10 seed this time around. He's been used to be floating around the top 4 or 5, but down to number 10. He takes on Andrew Gilding, who clung on to his spot in the Pro Tour Order of Merit on the last day of qualifying, the last Pro Tour, which was, of course, Tuesday. You then have the next of the standout ties, which is Michael Smith, former world champion and number 3 seed for this year's tournament. He faces his former mentor and former practice partner, Gary Anderson. He topped the Pro Tour Order of Merit, so Anderson against Smith. Thankfully, that's in the other quarter as opposed to Van Gerwen and Littler. Elsewhere in that final quarter is Chris Dobie against another debutant in Richie Edhouse, a former World Matchplay champion in Rob Cross, who's the number 6 seed at this year's tournament, facing Jan van Veen, who is also a debutant but playing some absolutely fantastic darts, and it wouldn't be a huge surprise if he was to defeat Rob Cross in that one. And the final tie is Damon Heta, who has represented Australia, of course, at the World Cup of Darts, a regular on the European Tour, and defeated Luke Littler at this year's UK Open. He takes on somebody who was a seed in last year's tournament, now unseeded, coming through the Pro Tour Order of Merit in Ryan Searle. So there are all the ties for this year's World Matchplay, taking place between the 13th and the 21st of July at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool, of course. Standout tie, I'm sure you'll agree, Michael Van Gerwen versus Luke Littler, but that Michael Smith versus Gary Anderson tie is certainly one to watch out for. Of course, Nathan Aspinall, the current World Matchplay champion, he takes on Luke Woodhouse, and Luke Humphries, the world number 1 and world champion, takes on Ricardo Pietrezco. We're going to be there in Blackpool for the duration of the tournament, bringing you interviews and exclusive content throughout the week, so stay tuned to Tungsten Tales, and we'll see you in Blackpool very, very soon.